Welcome to Ritual Scale Modelling. This is part 4 of Bandi's Star Wars Boba Fett. Scale is 1 to 12. In this part I'm going to be working on the legs, putting them together, painting them and so on, as well as starting the jetpack. And with that one I'm just going to be painting in the block colours for now. So let's jump into that and see how well I get on. So I'm starting off painting the feet on the sprue here, and I'm using Humbrol 91 black green for this. And on the sprue there, I've painted the foot plate in Humbrol 11 silver. You can just about make out with the light shining off it. So as you can see there on the bench, I've got loads of components laid out, and these are the actual legs. I'm only going to show one getting built, but both legs are practically the same. The colours I use are RC413 Engineer's Grey for the main part of the leg, that you can see there. And first of all, I'm just making up the various sockets that will be the interconnecting parts of the leg. Now you see me put a little bit of cement here. This was actually a mistake. I shouldn't have put any cement on there. So I actually, once I put the part on, I realised my mistake and took the part off. Now, it was very tricky to get off because they're such a tight fitting, but I did get it off, cleaned it up, and then replaced it. And these mistakes generally happen if you're racing forward and not paying attention to what you're doing. It does happen, even to the most experienced builders. So it's something to look out for. So again, just building more brackets. Each one is slightly different, but it's all the same processes as before that you've seen on other parts of the build or the Han Solo build. So the inner part goes into its location point. Try to keep it free moving before putting the two halves together. It's also important to look at the placement of these sockets and the houses for the sockets. Some of them only will go in one way. Others can go in various different ways, but they should only be a certain way. On those occasions, I will point them out. But generally, just make sure, if it's a leg, for instance, doing there, it's facing the right way offset, whether the left and right. So now that the housing inside is done for the sockets and so on, it's time to push these two parts together. And like everything else on this model, you really have to put in quite a bit of energy to get the two halves drawn together. The setting for this particular socket, again, as I was saying, it should only go in one way. There is a bottom hole in it. You think it can go in either way, but if you check the ball socket that goes into it, you'll find that it can only actually go in one way, so it's worth having a look at it. Probably making it sound more complicated than it actually is, because it is a fairly easy process, but just if you take your time, you shouldn't run into any difficulties. This part is the section that will connect the leg to the waist, so this is the hip section. When you put the socket in here, make sure it is free movement, because otherwise your leg will stiffen up and you won't get the free movement for enabling you to stand the figure in a different pose. It's quite a chunky little bit and it went together quite easily, but that little socket that you see there, make sure it's got movement in it. Moving on to the knee guards now, and these are painted in Humbrol's 24 Trainer Yellow. On each of the knee guards there's a series of 3 pins that have to be placed. I know these are tiny. I painted them in the Humbrol 85 Coal Black. Wasn't exactly sure what colour they should be, but any dark colour should do. What have you got to hand, if you don't mind, to an exact colour match. But there are 3 little pins. Each one has its own little location points, but they are tiny and they can be difficult to fit. The foot is quite easy to make up. First of all, the sole and then the upper part of the foot. Now again, you don't really have to use cement, but I did, because this is going to take all the weight of the model itself, of course, and if you're having it in different poses, you don't want it to pop open while you're moving it. The socket joint gets placed in after the foot is built up, and it should just push in and click it in place. It is a little bit tricky to get it in properly. I did toy with the idea of placing it in before putting the foot up. Look at that, my glove just got caught in it. The danger of having a glove on while building it. As I said, I did think about trying to place the socket joint in before placing the shoe on, but I wouldn't have been able to get it over the opening, I think. So a little bit manoeuvring, but once it's in, it's okay. You don't really need any cement for it. Next is to attach the knee guard. There's two little location points that this just sits into. Try not to push it in so far that it will completely hug the joint as such. It should sit a little bit proud, so there's a small gap in between the two parts. Then once it's on and dry, then I just push that into the leg area. And then once I was happy with the location of it and the movement, it's placing in the lower part of the leg. Now it should all just click into place, and just give it a firm push and it should be fine. So then comes the hip joint. This was a little bit more difficult to click into place. I don't know whether it was me or just the design of the part, but I did have trouble here. I had to put quite a bit of force to get it to fit. But I did get it in the end, and it did click into place, and I got full movement. So obviously that's what I wanted to achieve. And much the same with the foot. The little arm part of the socket is a lot thinner, so it was a bit difficult to get it in. So as you can see, both legs are now complete, and it's just a matter of pushing them onto the crotch area, well, the hip. And again, if you've lined up the sockets properly, they should just align beautifully. So going off onto the jetpack now, there's quite a lot of painting to do on this little piece. So the first colour I'm placing in is Humbrol's RC417 Coach Roof Off-White. A bit of a mouthful, that one, but it's basically an off-white colour, a sort of very light creamy colour. That is then bordered with Humbrol's 60 Scarlet. As I said at the first part of this build, the second part, sorry, when you're painting this, don't worry about it if your painting is not so neat. This figure is meant to be bashed up and things like that, so don't worry about the neatness of your painting if you're not comfortable with straight lines. This model actually helps the painter develop their skills in such a way without worrying so much about getting a perfect line. The next colour is Humbrol 24 Trainer Yellow, and this will be around the centre column of the jetpack. And just to reiterate once more, don't be too hung up about the how many coats of paint you'll need. I'm only putting one coat of paint on this. I'm not building up the colours because the one coat with the base colours shining through, coming through in patchy parts, that this is the look I want to achieve that bashed up look. And my next colour is Humbrol 96 RAF Blue. And these are the main block colours for the jetpack. There's some more colours to go in, but I'll cover that on the next video. And this is where, in fact, I'll end the video. So if you haven't done so already, why don't you go and check out the channel to have a look at my other builds. And while you're there, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be kept up to date, not only with this build, but all my future builds as well, of course. Hit the like button, don't be afraid to leave a comment, and of course you can share the video. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.